Hello guys, welcome to the last session of electrochemistry. In this part, we will be talking about batteries, mainly primary and secondary batteries. We will be looking into the reaction of batteries. We will also be talking about the fuel cell and corrosion. Okay, so let's start the topic. Now, first of all, what is a battery? So, battery or a cell, okay, in common terms, we can call it as a cell, is actually used as a source of electrical energy. Okay, so basically, we use it as a source of electrical energy. Basically, it is actually a galvanic cell, okay, where the chemical energy of the redox reaction is getting converted into electrical energy. Okay, so here always there are chemical reactions which are taking place inside the battery or cell of the redox reaction, and that is the one which is getting converted into electrical energy. Now there are some characteristics of battery. Okay, characteristics of battery are basically should be reasonably light. Okay, it should not be like very heavy so that you can't carry anywhere. It should be compact, small in size. Okay, very compact, and its voltage should not vary appreciably during its use. Basically the voltage amount, it should be constant. If the battery is, let's say, 1.5 volt, it should not go down 1.2 or 1.1, or it should not go up also like 2 3 4 so way. Okay, like whatever is the voltage, it should remain constant throughout its life. Now batteries are divided into two main types. One is primary battery and the other is secondary battery. Primary battery are the one which are kind of use and throw type. Okay, you use them once they are kind of discharged, you cannot recharge them, you just throw them out. Okay, then secondary batteries are the ones which are rechargeable batteries. So you can charge them multiple times. Okay, example of secondary battery are chargeable cells. Okay, you can see car batteries are chargeable, inverter is again chargeable. So these are the examples of secondary batteries. Now let us look into primary battery. So one of the primary battery is a dry cell, okay, or also known as Leclanche cell. Okay, here also I just want to highlight, in primary batteries the reaction occurs only once, and after use over a period of time, battery becomes dead and cannot be reused again. So use and throw. Okay, so one example is dry cell or Leclanche cell, which actually consists of a zinc container. So you can see this is your zinc container that is acting as an anode. So if you see this part here, the container is acting as an anode. Then it has the cathode, which is actually the carbon graphite rod. So this here is the carbon or graphite rod. Graphite is an allotrope form of carbon. You can refer to solid state chapter for the details of graphite, how it is. Now this part is actually, the graphite rod is surrounded by a powdered magnesium dioxide and carbon. So this here is powdered magnesium dioxide, MnO2, plus carbon black is there. Also there is a paste of NH4Cl paste is present around. Okay, the space between the electrode is filled by moist paste of aluminum chloride, that is NH4Cl, and zinc chloride, ZnCl2. Okay, you can see zinc cap and all this diagram is important, exam question. Now let us look at the reaction at anode is oxidation, loss of electrons. Okay, OACR, please remember. So anode oxidation, you can see loss of electron. At cathode, MnO2 is getting converted into MnOOH plus NH3. Okay, so what is happening? The reaction at cathode, magnesium is reduced from +4 oxidation state to +3 oxidation state. You can see here, if you want to check the oxidation state, O is actually 2 minus, so it is actually +4 is the oxidation state of Mn, manganese. Same way here, this is OH minus only one charge and O2 minus two negative charge. So total three negative charges are there. So Mn goes to +3 oxidation state. Okay, hence manganese is reduced. Now when this reaction happens, what is happening? Ammonia is produced in the reaction. Okay, you can see NH3 is ammonia and forms a complex with Zn2 plus to give out this coordinate complex. This is the coordinate complex. We will be checking into its geometry and characteristic properties later in our classes. Okay, now this cell, which is dry cell, gives a potential nearly about 1.5 volt. So this is the dry cell, Leclanche cell. This is the one that you use in your TV remotes, AC remotes, and all the remote system that you have. You can check it out. Okay. These values are written on the cell itself. Like one side it will be written positive, the other side it will be written negative, and they will write down the value of potential difference across the two terminals. Now, another type of primary battery is mercury cell. So these are actually suitable for low current devices like hearing aids or watches, etc., etc. So these is also known as button cell in common language. So mercury cell. So this is basically zinc mercury amalgam is the anode in this one, and there is a paste of HgO and carbon which is acting as a cathode. Okay. Now here also you can see at anode oxidation occurs, at cathode reduction occurs. If you add the two reaction, you see the two electrons will get cancelled, and the overall reaction is this one. Okay, ZnHg zinc amalgam plus HgO solid gives you ZnO plus Hg. Here self potential is approximately 1.35 volts. Okay, and it is maintained at this and remains constant during its life, as overall reaction does not involve any ion in the solution whose concentration can change during its life. So here this voltage will remain constant because there is no change in concentration. Okay. Now this is all about primary batteries. Let's talk about secondary batteries. So secondary battery or secondary cell after the use can be recharged by passing current through it in opposite direction. Okay, so you are actually reversing the reaction which is producing electricity. Okay, so that it can be used again. A good secondary cell can undergo a large number of charging and discharging cycles. Basically you can charge, discharge, charge and discharge. This is kind of inverter. Like when there is electricity in your house, you are charging the inverter batteries. Okay, when the electricity goes, you are discharging the inverter batteries. Okay. Now one such secondary battery is lead storage battery. Okay, this is the one which is commonly used in automobiles like your cars and inverters. Okay, so this one is actually, let me show you the diagram. Okay, so here is the diagram. You can see that there is a cathode here, there is anode here. The blue color represents anode. So you can see there is anode plate, there is cathode plate, anode plate, then cathode anode. So alternate plates are there. Okay, so there are negative plates and positive plates. They are all dipped in 38% sulfuric acid solution. Okay, so alternately anode cathode plates which are dipped in 38% H2SO4 solution. So let's look at to the reaction here. What is happening? Pb is getting converted into PbSO4 and PbO2 is getting converted into PbSO4 here. Okay, so overall cell reaction is this one. Please note down this cell reaction. Sometimes this is also asked in the exam. Now also please note this part, like lead is behaving as an anode and grid of lead packed with lead dioxide, that is PbO2, is acting as cathode, and everything is dipped into 38% solution of sulfuric acid, that is your electrolyte. Okay, now on charging the battery the reaction is reversed. So basically these are your reactant and basically you get these as the product. Okay, so PbSO4 on solid on anode and cathode is converted into Pb and PbO2 respectively. Okay, so you can reverse the reaction. Otherwise, when you are using the battery, this is the main reaction which is happening. This is the discharging reaction. A simpler diagram is available which will be shared with you on our group. Okay. Now, another one is nickel cadmium cell. So these are kind of your dry cells, but they are chargeable type of dry cells. Like they look exactly the same, but the mechanism is different. So it has a longer life than lead storage cell, but more expensive to manufacture. So they are expensive. That's why we don't use them so often. So here also, this is the reaction which is taking place. Not that important, but you should know. Okay, so this is your rechargeable nickel cadmium cell. Now, next topic here is that of fuel cell. So we all know that when we produce electricity by thermal plants, they are not very efficient. The efficiency which is given by thermal power plants is nearly about 40%, which is actually very low. okay, and they give a lot of pollution also. Like if you burn coal, there is pollution. If you like burn any other nuclear like if you use nuclear fuel also, that is again a pollution, source of pollution. Thermal power plants are really like efficiency is very very low. Now there are some galvanic cells, okay, which are designed to convert energy of the combustion of fuels like hydrogen, methane, methanol directly into electrical energy, and they are called as fuel cell. Please note down, in thermal power plants what is happening, we are burning the fuel, okay. After burning the fuel, we are heating up the water that gets converted into steam, and that steam is used to turn the turbine, and that turning of turbine produces electricity. Okay, so it's a very very long process, hence there is very low efficiency. Whereas in fuel cells, it is directly converting energy of combustion into electrical energy, okay, directly into electrical energy. Hence the efficiency of fuel cell is quite high. Now, one example of fuel cell is hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Okay, you can see there is hydrogen, methane, methanol, all these types are available. So one is hydrogen and oxygen fuel cell. So in this cell, what is happening? We are putting hydrogen from one side and oxygen from one side. There is this plate which is acting as anode. This side is cathode. So you see that they pass through this porous media and they come into the aqueous electrolyte. So here the reactions takes place, and like actually the reactions takes place at cathode and anode. You can see the reaction at cathode, you get this, 4 electrons are involved. At anode, you give away 4 electrons. So overall reaction, you can just add the two. Okay, so you see that here what is the overall reaction? OH minus will cancel, 4 electrons will cancel. So overall reaction here is simply H2 2H2 plus O2 giving you 2H2O. This is a very very clean energy. Okay, so one point is it is pollution free, another point is it produces electricity at a very very high efficiency, that is about 70%, as compared to thermal power plants whose efficiency is 40%. And since there is no pollution, it is very very green energy, let's say, or green energy. So this has been used in automobiles on experimental basis. Some experiments are being conducted, but this is a very potential source of energy for future. Okay, the diagram here is very important. Please note down the diagram and practice it. Now last topic is corrosion. So corrosion is what? Basically rusting of iron, tarnishing of silver, development of green coating on copper and bronze. Okay, these are some of the examples of corrosion. Now, what is happening in corrosion? In corrosion, the metal is getting oxidized by loss of electrons to oxygen and formation of oxide. What is happening? The metal is getting converted into metal oxide. Okay, like if I talk about iron, which is actually rusting of iron, it loses electrons, that is oxidation happens, and it gets converted into its oxide. Okay, so just let me show you the process what is happening here. Like electrons are released at anodic spot. So the diagram, so let's say that this is my iron, so it is losing electrons, so this is your anodic spot, so these electrons are free to move around. Now this Fe is kind of also free because it's an ion, and this is your water molecule which is present. So you see that slowly it goes and interacts with oxygen which is present outside. So and then it gets converted into iron oxide. Okay, so oxidation half is this one, Fe2 plus 2 electrons, and reduction half is this one. Okay, so this is what is happening, and slowly the entire iron is getting converted into iron oxide. Okay, so that is how it is getting corroded. Now how to prevent it, or how to slow down the process of corrosion? So these are the three methods which we use for prevention of corrosion. One is by kind of isolating or putting a coating on the surface of iron. Like for example, you can paint the iron. Okay, you can use some chemicals to cover the iron surface. Okay, or to prevent rusting basically. Other idea could be by covering the surface by other metals, like for example, Sn and Zn. Okay, so these are inert or unreactive elements. Okay, like inert elements, so they do not get corroded easily, and hence you can use them to protect the inner material. Another way is use of electrochemistry or electrochemical method. So here what we do, we put a sacrificial anode or sacrificial electrode is put, which can be any other metal which will get oxidized itself. Like for example, magnesium, zinc can be used, so they will be the one which will get corroded. Okay, and they will save the main structure, or let's say main metal, which is iron for our case. So they will corrode themselves and they will protect iron, and with time, since they are getting corroded, you can replace this magnesium with a fresh magnesium, so they have to be changed regularly. Okay, and that's it guys from my side. This is the end of the chapter. See you all in the next class. Okay, bye bye.